Moin moin! So you've decided to escape into the apocalypse in Project Zomboid and are now wondering how painful it's going to be. First off, you're gonna start playing solo, of course, because your social anxiety keeps you from playing with strangers. And the first hurdle will be to pick your starting location, which really just comes down to choosing which flavor of Doom you prefer, Rosewood and a prison close by or West Point, whatever. Next comes the most important step, creating your character. Naturally, you craft someone who embodies all the traits you wish you had in real life. Unemployed, well, that part is probably accurate. An outdoor man, brave, a runner, and maybe a little clumsy. Now just giving him a heroic name and the fun begins. You are welcomed by the tutorial right after the game has greeted you with an uplifting message. The introduction is packed with walls of text and helpful advice, which you all ignore because, let's be honest, who's still reading stuff? You don't need a tutorial anyways. So you close the wall of text without a second glance and dive straight in. What could possibly go wrong? After dying several times because you have no clue where to go or what to do, you quickly discover different ways of death. Either you step outside and get turned into instant lunchtime for the undead, or you get bitten, manage to escape in great relief just to notice the ominous skull icon on your screen and realize your days are numbered, becoming the Walking Dead yourself a little later. The moment you leave the comfort of your cozy safe house for the first time, a horde of former neighbors show up asking for more than just a cup of sugar, while you try not only to battle the zombies, but with the combat system itself. If by some miracle you manage to not getting slaughtered the first few minutes and haven't uninstalled the game yet, you've entered the next phase of suffering, which starts with keeping yourself fat. You start to raid the kitchen, finding a bunch of canned sardines, among other delicious high-processed foods conveniently placed in the cabinets, which you start to stuff your face with. You keep piling up food stocks until your inventory maxes out and you're forced to leave some of your loot behind, because you haven't found a backpack yet. Naturally, this includes the most important item of all, the can opener, which you found amongst the uncooked delicacies. You don't realize this, of course, until hours later when you're starving, staring at a stack of canned food, wishing you hadn't left the damn can opener. Even worse, the power cuts out, making every electronic useless, all hoarded fresh food spoiling faster than your ability to eat them. So full of desperation you decide to eat that rotten fish, bringing food poisoning and ultimately your death. But getting back to your current misery, after completely overeating on ultra-processed goods, you decide to hydrate yourself by chugging the one water bottle you have. Of course, you forget to refill it while taps are still working. Feeling a little bloated, you decide to explore the house, where you stumble across a bunch of books promising to boost your survival skills like mechanic or carpentry. Those are all ignored in favor of a working TV you possess, which is immediately used to procrastinate on active survival with some of your favorite shows such as Life and Living that actually turns out to be useful. Eventually your ADHD brain decides that it's bored of watching TV and sends you to go off find some clothes. Without a second thought, you put on every extra layer you're able to find for better protection against zombie bites, without noticing it's summer. So you start sweating, which tanks your mood and in turn your combat effectiveness. A fact you'd known if you paid attention to the tutorial earlier. Feeling slightly overheated, you step into broken glass and cut your feet. Turns out spawning without shoes was not the best idea. And with no professional medical supplies in sight, you tear up some spare shirts and slap it on as a makeshift bandage, which leads to an infection a little later because you forgot to clean it with some kind of disinfectant. Panicking, you begin wandering aimlessly, searching for anything that might cure you. First aid kit, antibiotics, anything. Instead, you find yourself surrounded by zombies and spend your final moments trying to dodge the infested while the infection slowly drains your health. And now beginning to doubt your abilities, playing with others doesn't sound like a bad idea anymore. Alright, but next try. You're feeling pretty good this time. You managed to stay fat, warm, and most importantly not killed yourself with a bacterial infection. You find a firearm and some ammunition. Unfortunately, the joy is short-lived. The TV you forgot to turn off earlier is still blaring reruns of Life and Living and you neglected to close the window and curtains. So you're surprised by some undead intruders and you decide to test your newfound weapon immediately. This serves as a dinner bell for every zombie within earshot and your character, despite being the superhuman you created, sucks at shooting. Before you know it, a horde has gathered and within minutes you're back to square one. After respawning again, you've learned your lesson. This time you're on the hunt for a melee weapon. After looking for a while, you find something suitable. A bat, an axe, even a guitar, anything works. Armed and ready, you start practicing the fine art of head splashing. You quickly master the basics. Aim for the head and listen for that satisfying splat.
Haha, you missed!
You overlooked one little detail, however. Weapons break. They can be fixed, but you didn't care to keep duct tape or other repair material. But thankfully you thought ahead and grabbed a backup weapon. The odd 1 or 2 zombies don't pose a threat to you, but by the time they amass more and more, it's time to run. But running has the downside of you breaking a sweat, and eventually you slow down to a walk, where you discover that zombies actually can't even keep up with your walking speed. So you're starting to stroll away from the danger and break their line of sight by wandering into the forest, to search for a permanent hideout. You stumble upon a small house. Playing it smart this time, you clear everything for zombies and close all windows and curtains. The goal is to fully barricade everything, and luckily you even kept an axe while searching the fire station before, which is used to chop down trees, and after a while you got a nice pile of planks. Trying to use a box of nails to start the fortifications, you continue to just stare at the first window frame and can't quite figure out how to actually turn planks into barricades. You puzzle around in the carpentry menu and in your inventory until you realize, and definitely not googled it, that you gotta unpack the box of nails first to reveal the required UI option. But after all this chopping, splashing and surviving, you're starting to feel a bit worn out. But then, like a beacon of hope, you spot a car. You rush over and slide into the driver's seat, realizing there are no keys. No one told you they might be lying around somewhere close, and apparently hot wiring isn't part of your skill set. You decide to check the glove box anyways, but in your haste you manage to climb into the backseat. And while you fumble around trying to exit the backseat, familiar sounds are already approaching. Within seconds, zombies storm the car. Trapped and helpless, you meet your end again. So there you have your potential story in Project Zomboid. This was just scratching the surface. The map is massive, begging to explore, build bases on, or become a farmer even. And if playing solo really isn't your thing after all, grab some friends or be brave and jump into one of the many RP servers, where you're gonna stumble across a plethora of mods already available. Grab your can opener, gear up and head into the apocalypse.